I have 15 minutes to tell you a summary of everything that's been happening at Giants training camp so far this summer. I won't talk about every single player, but I will talk through the storylines of each position group and the most significant players on the roster. A timer's being set for 15 minutes. On your marks, get set, go. Let's start off with the quarterback room. Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart, Jameis Winston. Russell Wilson is clearly quarterback one. There is no QB controversy so far this summer. I have really liked how decisive Russell Wilson has been. I have really liked his ability to throw the ball deep when Brian Daboll has allowed him to and when they're not operating outside of, during a red zone day or a red zone period. Russell Wilson has really impressed in that regard. There hasn't really been a single receiver yet so far this camp that he's thrown the ball behind to when he's throwing it deep in 20+ air yards. So Russell Wilson has brought a unique energy to this training camp. He brings a leadership. Obviously, he brings a pedigree of a really successful career as well. And I think that energy is being felt by not only the fans, but I think that type of leadership is being felt by the team as well. And also, just bottom line, it's kind of cool to see just a quarterback that, you're watching him and no shit Sherlock, but he's better than Daniel Jones. And I think that's what this organization is mainly looking for, especially this year. What can quarterback play that isn't Daniel Jones look like for a Brian Daboll, Joe Schoen-led football team? We're going to find that out this year, and Russell Wilson has had a solid camp so far. Really excited about the explosive plays that are going to happen this year. Jackson Dart, it's been a training camp of almost two halves, where the first half of it he's been indecisive, and he's taking a lot of sacks. It's taking time for him to throw the ball, and there's also been some interceptions in there too as well. But the second half of camp for Dart, there have been more flashes. In particular, the last practice that they had before they put pads on, I believe that was practice number 4, that's where he really did look his best. He had some of his best throws in team period, not just 7-on-7. He was more decisive with the football, really did a nice job of layering football over defenders on crossers over the middle of the field. Really, all quarterbacks have been utilizing the middle of the field well, and hopefully that leads to on the football field, where I know all these quarterbacks can throw the ball towards the sideline. How well can they do throwing the ball over the middle of the field, especially Jackson Dart and Russell Wilson? But Dart, for the mistakes that he's made, the quote-unquote mistakes and interceptions that he's thrown, he's talked about how, especially the first one, the pick six that he threw to Nick Jones, day one of camp, and he talks about how I saw him. It's not like I didn't see the defender there, but I'm trying to see what I can get away with. I'm trying to adjust to the speed of the game. And I think at the start of training camp for Jackson Dart, the speed of the game was very, very fast, and he wasn't as decisive and doesn't necessarily know where to go with football towards the second half of camp. He's even talked about how the game has slowed down for him, and I like Jackson Dart experimenting. If you're going to make mistakes, make them in practice, and also make them when trying to be aggressive. It's the interceptions that happen on stuff that's short and quick and methodical that can sometimes be frustrating, because that's just pre-snap reads. But if he's trying to dart a football down the field, no pun intended, and he makes a mistake, that stuff I don't mind as much. And that's been the interceptions that Jackson Dart has had so far, where he's trying to see what can I get away with, what can't I get away with at the NFL level. So Jackson Dart, he's trending upward so far this training camp, but there's still work to go. There's still stuff to be worked on. Brian Daboll hasn't really thrown him in there with the first team at all since the first half of camp. I want to see Jackson Dart put in more uncomfortable situations. Now that he's starting to get his legs under him, start throwing some more stuff at him as camp goes on. See how he reacts. Jackson Dart trending upward as training camp goes, but knowing still that Russell Wilson is QB1. Jameis Winston has kind of just been fun and funny. He's certainly a ball of energy. He runs and sprints to every drill. He's taking read options in team periods, and it's like, dude, you're not actually going to run the ball here. He'll scramble and run all the way until the end zone because he knows that, hey, guys aren't going to tackle me, guys aren't going to touch me, so I'm going to score on every play. So Jameis is fun. He brings a funny energy. He's fun to watch in the stands. In terms of the running backs, Cam Scataboo is the guy that sticks out the most, where he is starting to get more first-team reps and opportunities with the first team. Cam Scataboo has flashed his ability as a runner. They really haven't run the ball all that much through the majority of camp. The first 2 days of full pads, they have run the ball a lot, and I like that they're trying to get more physical at the point of attack or somewhat at the midway point of the public viewing training camp. They're still relatively early on to their entire month of training camp, right? But Cam Scataboo, Flashed as a runner a couple days in a row where he had 10-plus yard runs, and also every single day, whether they have pads on or not, whether they're operating out of the red zone or whether they're operating the full field, Cam Scataboo has flashed his ability as a receiver. Now, Cam Scataboo isn't the best athlete in the world. I don't think he's going to burn people. He's not going to beat people in a race. But if linebackers are caught sleeping, or even if there's linebackers in general that can't cover or aren't comfortable in coverage, Cam Scataboo as a receiver is going to make plays this year. And it's been happening in camp past the line of scrimmage, where he has such really good spatial awareness of flashing late hands, getting his feet down inside the red zone and inside the end zone. Numerous plays, whether it be in 1v1, 7-on-7, or 11-on-11, where Cam Scataboo has had an opportunity to catch the ball inside the end zone, and he's able to toe tap his way in, or nearly toe tap his way in, and get his feet down, flash those late hands so guys can't really predict or get a read on when that ball is coming to maybe make a play on the football if you're a defender. So Cam Scataboo really flashed as a receiver. He did that at Arizona State, and I'm excited to see if the Giants can capitalize on that in his rookie year. The main challenge for him will be, can he pass block? If he can pass block and not put the ball on the ground, then he's going to see playing time, and he's already seeing his playing time with the first team increase as camp goes on. But overall, the running back rotation in general, Tracy's had some nice runs. Tracy's looked pretty solid, and I think we know what we're going to get out of him. I think this is going to be a three-way running back rotation so far, heading into at least the early part of this year, where Tracy's that number one guy, and I think it'll be up to Cam Scataboo on how much can he fully infiltrate it. So let's move to the wide receivers. Malik Neighbors has been a stud. Today he goes down with a shoulder injury. Looks like he may be okay. I hope it doesn't keep him out for an extended period of time. But Malik Neighbors has been incredible. He's been the clear wide receiver one. He's gotten a lot of the targets. He's gotten a lot of the receptions. It looks like his chemistry and his connection with Russell Wilson is really shaping up to be a good one. There's nothing much else to say about him. I have 1,500-yard expectations for Malik Neighbors as long as he's healthy. Darius Slayton had a really nice one-handed grab a couple days ago. Wan'Dale Robinson and Jalen Hyatt have been going through hopefully slight injuries. Seems like Hyatt is ramping up to coming back after cramping a couple days ago. The Giants have an off day on Wednesday. They'll be back on Thursday. Hopefully he's back. Now, the Bryce Ford-Wheaton injury, he tears his Achilles a couple days ago. So what does that mean for the back end of the wide receiver depth chart? They bring back Gunnar Olszewski as a special teams ace, another special teams ace. Now, he was a returner for the Giants. Now, you also have Ihmir Smith-Marsette as a returner. You have your first four wide receivers basically locked down in Hyatt, Wan'Dale, Slayton, and Neighbors. So what does that mean? If you're going to carry 5 or 6 wide receivers, Bryce Ford-Wheaton being that special teamer opens up another slot. Is that for a UDFA like Dalen Cambry, Bo Collins? Can they contribute on special teams? Obviously, Cambry can. Ihmir Smith-Marsette, obviously, he's going to be your returner, but maybe is he not going to be your returner? So I'm fascinated to see how that winds up shaking out. If I had to predict right now, I think it would just be Gunnar Olszewski and Ihmir Smith-Marsette as your 2 special teamers. They can be returners for you, and I think Gunnar can also contribute elsewhere on special teams. Am I entirely sure on that? No, because do I fully pay attention to special teams like that? No, and if you're going to get mad at me for not fully paying attention to special teams, do you know that answer? Probably not. I will keep an eye on that, and maybe I'll do some research into that too, as I'm thinking about it now. I have 6 minutes left. In terms of tight ends, Theo Johnson has flashed as a receiver in the short intermediate part of the field. Thomas Fidone has flashed more as a receiver than Daniel Bellinger. There was one 1v1 play for Fidone, has like this insane one-handed grab. Do they carry 4 tight ends or do they carry 3? My preference is for them to carry 3. I think Fidone and Bellinger are a little redundant for each other. Even if Bellinger is a little bit better of a blocker, I think Fidone can offer more as a receiver. And I also don't think Daniel Bellinger is this world beater as a blocker where it requires you to keep him on the team. And you also have Chris Manhurts. So I think carrying 3 is fine. The Giants could possibly double their cap space if they cut Daniel Bellinger. So if they carry 4 tight ends, great. Then that's 4 tight ends that you can kind of rely on, and Fidone's going to be there, Daniel Bellinger is going to be there, but I would almost rather carry 10 offensive linemen than 3 tight ends, which brings me to the offensive line. Evan Neal at guard is picking up steam as pads have come on, where he's a strong dude. He's moving people in the run game, but we knew that he could do this in the run game. We knew that he could move people in the run game, especially as they move up to the secondary level, which Carmen Bursillo's offensive lines have generally moved generally moved very well with each other. So Jermaine Illuminar has talked about, like, damn, man, like, we really move people in double teams, and I could see that, and you could just feel the strength. So Evan Neal, I think the strength he should have as a guard, and in 1v1 pass blocks and those reps, he's looked pretty good as well. Now, the level of competition at interior defensive line is awful and not very good. We'll talk about that. But Evan Neal at guard is picking up steam. As he's played with the first team, he's rotating in and out at times for Greg Van Roten and John Runyon. He's really the only lineman right now that's rotating in and out with the first team. There's no other guy that's doing that. Andrew Thomas is working his way back from the PUP list. He's continuing the stretch on the side. Marcus Bowe has looked solid and up to the task as tackle. And James Hudson is embracing being a dirtbag, but not in the ways that you'd want. James Hudson is the Giants' swing tackle this year, without a doubt. They gave him a very significant kind of investment for a backup tackle. It's basically the same contract as Jermaine Illuminar. What a steal of a signing and best value signing that Joe Schoen's had in his tenure so far. But James Hudson embracing being a dirtbag in a bad way, because he's eventually going to fight with somebody, but it's not like he's kicking ass out there. He's kind of getting his ass kicked, and he's still being a little bit of a dirtbag and shoving these Giants teammates down in the dirt, and it's not a good look for him. So that's the offensive line. Evan Neal at guard picking up steam, and Abdul Carter is the man as we move to the defensive side of the ball. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Like, the Giants have beat down my expectations for them as the years have gone on, but I'm walking away from week 1 of camp being like, if this dude doesn't win Defensive Rookie of the Year, it's not necessarily a disappointment, but I think now that is now the expectation for me. He works numerous moves. He's lining up everywhere, and he legit looks like the best defensive player on the team outside of Dexter Lawrence. And Dexter Lawrence is in and out sporadically, just because Dexter Lawrence doesn't need to get all the first-team reps in the world. He can be on the side, and we know what Dex is. But Abdul Carter has legit been the best defensive player on the field for the Giants. Not just the best rookie. He's been the best defensive player and has wreaked the most havoc and has had a really good impact. Brian Burns, of course, looks really good, which isn't surprising. I want Chauncey Golston to stand out more against backups. Now, moving to the interior defensive lineman, Dex is the man, but everyone else behind him is just really shaky, and that's the conversation right now, where the Giants this offseason did a job in bringing in Roy Robertson Harris and Elijah Chapman, Roy Robertson Harris, Jeremiah Ledbetter, and they drafted Darius Alexander. But in terms of this year and how much value they're going to add, I don't know. Obviously, Darius Alexander is a third-round pick. Eventually, there will be an expectation for him to contribute, but he hasn't. I want to see more out of him. There are certain flashes and certain days where I see violent hands and him really showing strength and him really pushing a pocket. And then there are certain days where that same energy, that same intensity isn't there for him. When the pads have gone on, it hasn't really been there for him. When I really want to see more out of his hands and I want to see him, just show overall more strength. And the Giants' run defense has not been good when Dex is not on the field. That's been the case as when they're all on the field with each other as well. They need more out of that interior defensive lineman room, hoping that Darius Alexander can maybe lead that charge. Roy Robertson Harris, Nacho, and Elijah Chapman have been the interior defensive linemen around Dex for the most part with the first team. Hopefully Jeremiah Ledbetter gets more of an opportunity as well. Linebackers, it's kind of tough to tell from camp how they're doing. Darius Malasu is the clear linebacker number 3. I think preseason will be at the time where interior linebackers will be able to kind of sink or swim, and we'll definitely overrate and overinflate an interior linebacker that does well from preseason, because that happens every single year. Safeties, Raheem Lane seems to be the safety number 4 alongside Dane Belton. Dane Belton's the number 3 safety. But I'm going to spend the last minute and a half talking about Deontay Banks. Deontay Banks and Cordell Flott have rotated at CB2 every single day, and every single period they've rotated in and out at CB2. And for Deontay Banks, I'm getting tired. It's at a point where I want to scream it from wherever, and I want to do something violent, because it's the same thing over and over again with Banks, man. He's in perfect position, but he cannot turn his head and make a play on the football for the life of him. And if he cannot do that, he will lose the job. It's getting to the point where it's like, I believe that this will correct itself. That's what I've been saying in this offseason. He's in too good of a position to not improve on this. But in camp, just hasn't. Cordell Flott, even if he is a worse coverage corner, Cordell Flott will win the job because at least Cordell Flott can turn his head. And Cordell Flott has had some forced incompletions so far this camp and so far this summer. Deontay Banks will lose this job if he cannot turn his head and if he continues to allow completions. Doesn't matter where you are positioned. If you can't make a play on the football when it arrives, you will lose. And that's what it's looking like so far with Deontay Banks. It's so freaking frustrating, man. It's so frustrating. So 3, 2, 1. That is 15 minutes. The duck goes off. That's a very loud noise whenever I do laundry or I do whatever. That's my timer that goes off. I hope you enjoy. I'll be back at practice on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then they're off on Sunday, then back on Monday, and then they'll have the joint practices with the Jets as well. So appreciate everybody watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate everybody that's been with me throughout training camp so far. It's been cool to get some kind of support back, which I appreciate everybody. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you Thursday for a recap, maybe even with the guest. See you then.